Hey guys, this is Chris from Marty Party Travel, and we went to Austin City Limits here in 2024. So we're gonna give you a little bit of a review about what it was, how we enjoyed it, and what to expect for the 2025 festival. So a little bit of background, we live in the South, kind of Central Texas area. So we've gone to Austin City Limits in Austin multiple different years, and we've kind of been able to see it evolve over the year. But the difference between 23 and 2024 was not much. It was pretty similar. So we think we've got a pretty good idea about how they're going to run this festival going forward. And we want to give you some tips and tricks to make sure that you have the best time going into Austin City Limits 2025. So let's jump right in. My name is Chris again from Marty Party Travel, and this is Austin City Limits. So a little bit about the festival itself. It started as a one weekend festival in the early kind of 2000s. It was a great just kind of opportunity to go for 3 days, and you were able to kind of go out to Zilker Park, which is a big metropolitan park in the Austin area, right near the Barton Springs kind of section, and listen to live music, different bands, different stages, and it was great. Well, a couple of years ago, and I say couple, but it's really been like 8-ish, 9-ish, I don't know exactly, but they actually doubled up and they started doing the 2-weekend Austin City Limits. So they basically had mostly the same lineup for 2 different weekends, 2 different 3-day weekends here, and always about the same time frame, early October. And then, you know, depending on the people's availability, artists, right? Some go to weekend 1, some go to weekend 2, but a lot of people carry over to both. And so we want to talk about, you know, what to expect at the festival and just some tips and tricks to make sure that you have the best time. So in regards to getting there, the festival again located actually at Zilker Park. So they have all the streets kind of barricaded close. So a lot of times people are wanting to ride share pretty close. They've got kind of an Uber and Lyft drop off kind of by one of the entrances on the other side coming from the Mopac area. But we personally like to come from the Barton Springs area. So there's some great businesses, if you're driving, that is, if you're driving, there's some great businesses on the corner of Lamar and Barton Springs where you can actually park. It's about $50 a day to park there, but it's great because if you park on Lamar, that street is not closed and it's actually very easy to get in and out. It's about a 10-minute walk from your car to the front gates of ACL. And so it's great if you want to park at one of these lots and then walk down Barton Springs towards the festival. Very easy in and out access if you do that. So that's pro tip number 1. When you're walking down to the festival grounds itself, all the way up Barton Springs, tons of people handing out free stuff, tons of different vendors, different drinks, a lot of hydration stuff, but very, very crowded. So definitely make sure that you keep all your guests and party together. When you arrive at the festival gates, depending on your ticket level, there are different entrances. So for example, there's a family entrance if you have a child with you that is 8 and under, and the family entrance is located off to the side by the platinum entrance and has very little to no line. So great opportunity there if you're bringing someone 8 and under. Stop by the guest services kind of ticket help desk on the right. They have a thing called Tag a Kid where they'll basically register you to your kid. They'll give you a special wristband and you get to use the family entrance. Then they have the GA lines, of course. They've got probably 10 to 12 GA lines on each side. Those are going to be your longest just because it's kind of general admission. And then they also have those same lines for GA+. They had a premium line this year if you were an American Express card holder who registered your band or cashless. So you were able to wait in the Amex line, a little bit shorter. And then they have the VIP line. If you have an actual VIP wristband, either the 3-day or the 1-day, that was one of the shorter lines from the main entrance. We went VIP this year, so we were able to wait in that short line. And then back by the family entrance, if you have the platinum ticket, you can use the platinum entrance over there. And then there was actually even a higher level called Y'all Access, which was some sort of private concierge in and out, just crazy access level there. There also are a couple other different bands that I didn't cover, different types. They've got like artist passes and C3 guests and things like that. That may have different entrances again, but those are the main ones to know about that most people have that aren't going as artists or guests or something like that. So once you get into Zilker Park, the main thing to know is the fest has come a long way in recent years. So from the bathroom situation, which just it used to be kind of a standard porta potty, now they've got these fancy porta potties, you know, with doors and privacy and you know, vented better, right? They've got the premium air conditioned bathrooms for your GA plus access or your VIP access to plenty of different booths selling the bodegas, right? That have different medicine and things if you get hurt or you need some Advil, things like that, earplugs, sunglasses, sunscreen. So much has come kind of a long way. And so rather than talking for 20 minutes about all the different things at the festival grounds, we're gonna hit some high-level highlights of what you need to know. So the layout of the festival is pretty cool. It's almost like a big circle. You can walk it in a big circle, but it's really 2 anchor points. It's the Honda stage, traditionally Honda being the sponsor of the stage, and then the American Express stage, which has also been the other sponsor for the last couple of years. The Honda stage is up on the hill, the American Express stage is down on the hill, and they pretty much are far enough apart that if you're close to either one, you can't hear the other one. But if you're far enough back, if there's a big headliner crowd at the American Express stage, unfortunately, you can get that sound bleed from the Honda stage if you're in the back. And then in addition to that, depending on the year, they have 3 to 4 different other smaller stages. This year they had the Miller Lite stage, they had the T-Mobile stage, they had the, I think the IHG, like the hotel company stage, and then Tito's had a stage as well. So there's some smaller stages, and then they also have a little tent as well. Maybe that's what it was, a Tito's tent, but they have a little tent that's got a stage over there as well. And so the way it works basically is they kind of alternate sets in general throughout the day. And so the setup is kind of that the Honda and American Express stages are pretty much always playing at the same time opposite of each other. And then once those acts are off, the other 3 to 4 small stages will start and they'll play for the opposite hour while the big stages are resetting back up. So there's a constant flow of people heading from the big anchor stages to the smaller stages and things like that. So as far as like the congestion goes and walking around, of course, when you're close to the front of the Honda or the American Express stage, it gets pretty tight. The only other stage that really gets tight is the Miller Lite stage. It's over in the back by the beer tent, and it just gets a little crowded back there depending on who's playing. Like this year, Jungle played, they had a huge set, very, very crowded. Porter Robinson also played, he had a big draw as well. And for people who've been going for a long time, you also have similar situations where people like Lizzo, who wasn't as big as she was by the time when she got booked for ACL originally, by the time she performed, she was on the Miller stage, and it was like a crush crowd. It was crazy over there. So pretty neat setup there on the stages, but not too bad. The middle of the park is really easy to get in and around of, and honestly, at most times of the day, it's not that crowded, right? So very easy from there. What's nice about the perimeter, that outer circle I was describing, is the outer circle is lined with bars. If you're drinking, and even if you're not drinking, they sell plenty of non-alcoholic beverages like water, sparkling water. Rambler was big this year. They do sell full liquor at the bars. That's something that originally wasn't. It was VIP only. The bars used to only sell like wine and beer, but they do actually have full liquor now in the main festival grounds. That's something that's more recently new. If you used to go back in the day, they do have liquor out in the bars as well. And then from there, you also have the bodegas, like we talked about, that kind of line outside. They've got different medical tents. They've got free water stations. So they used to be sponsored by Camelback, but there was a new company that sponsored them this year. And that's great because whether you do have some type of Camelback thing or any type of containers that store water, this water is all cool and filtered, and you can go to the water stations that line the outside perimeter. In addition to that, they've got cool experience booths located all the way around, again, these outer perimeters. So from the big sponsors, like there's an American Express booth where they were doing different giveaways and things like that. They had a little line, and then you'd go into the Amex experience from there. And then they had the Hulu as a sponsor, so they've got a thing. The Coke Studio has a thing that they had where you were able to kind of go in there and get different kind of samples and things like that in giveaways that Coca-Cola had. And then they also have like the Honda area, because Honda's a big sponsor as well, where you can enter to win a free car. And the Honda has all sorts of different giveaways and things throughout the day that they're doing. In addition to that, Miller Lite, another big sponsor, of course, had their own little booth where they actually had an upper level. I don't know the process over there, but you can go over there and get on some type of list or something to go to this upper level deck, which gives you great views of the Honda stage when people are performing. So pretty cool things like that. In addition to that, the main area in the middle of Zilker also has different shops. They bring in local shops from around the Austin area where you can buy goods and merch, different art, jewelry, clothing, things like that. And most of those people will hold the merchandise for you while you're attending the festival, and then they'll text you to pick it up. So pretty neat opportunity there as well. And let's not forget about food. There is a ton of food. They actually have a section called ACL Eats, which is where the bulk of the food is. That's between the little tent stage I was telling you all about and the Miller Lite stage kind of on the back. They've got this ACL Eats section, which has over 30 to 40 local Austin eateries that have come out and set up in the park. And so the lines move pretty quick. Even when they seem long, you're not waiting more than 15, 20 minutes to get to the front of a line. And that's the busy lines, right? Some of these lines are 5 to 10 minutes or less to get to the front. And the main food, again, is ACL Eats all sorts of different stuff. Vegan, vegetarian, barbecue meat, pizza, fried chicken, you name it, they have it. ACL Eats has some of the best Austin food, especially if you're wanting to try some of the local hotspots that people always recommend on YouTube and things like that. You can find that here at ACL Eats. They have a secondary small section of food over by the front entrance, by the Barton Springs entrance. They have one of the stages over there, and they've got, this year it was themed, it was all Mexican food. So they had all sorts of different tacos and things over there by the, again, the stage, and then the merch store was over there as well. So pretty neat opportunity to have kind of a secondary location for food this year. And then they also have Dessert Row, as I call it, which is located near the Family and Platinum entrance and Austin Kitty Limits. So if you want dessert, they had kind of a whole row of sweet treats there as well, from gelato to these pancake looking things. It's a pretty cool opportunity. And since I mentioned it, Austin Kitty Limits, if you don't know, is a section that's open till about 6 o'clock every day, focused on family-friendly activities for the young festival goers. ACL is a cool festival because they allow you to bring anyone in your family that's under 8 years old for free. They get that wristband I told you about, the little Tag Your Kid wristband at the front of the park, and then they have access to your level of access. So if you have GA Plus or you have VIP, they actually 8 and under get to go with you to those places for free without an additional credential needed. So cool cost-saving tip if you have young children. Once you get to that platinum level and above, though, of tickets, regardless of age, everybody must have their own credential just because that level of access is so premium and so limited. But definitely check out the schedule for Austin Kitty Limits. They do all sorts of different activities and arts and crafts there throughout the day. They even have like a hip hop booth where you can make your own rap. My daughter did that the year before. It's a pretty cool opportunity there for Austin Kitty Limits. Other stuff that you'll find kind of around Zilker, they have a tiki bar that came back. It was new last year and they brought it back this year, where they were serving different beers and different kind of like tropical inspired drinks. They've got the ceramic tiki cup that they had. They had 2 different colors last year, 2 different colors this year. And then they serve poke as well over there if that is something that you are wanting to eat. Now let's talk about merch. So festival merch is located near the front Barton Springs entrance. They have 2 tents that are kind of right next to each other. So they have the traditional festival tent that's got all the artist merch. Artist merch is typically there on day one, but the people working did tell me that sometimes people will bring in merchandise throughout the week, right? So depending on, throughout the weekend, I should say, right? So depending on if it's a Saturday or a Sunday act, they may not have gotten their merch by Friday. So definitely check that. But in general, the bulk of it is there on day one. And you want to hit up that line early because they do sell out of stuff pretty quickly, as the bands are only bringing whatever they have on tour. Next to the artist merch is, I shouldn't even call it a tent. It's a big pop-up air-conditioned building, which is the festival merch store. And ACL, as you guys know, Austin, very artsy, very cool. And so they have big brands that will design ACL t-shirts and merch. And so when you go into the festival store, you've got these big brands that have created their own version of Austin City Limits tees. And a lot of these guys are repeats, so you can get the shirt kind of every year, different hats, different things like that. They sell posters, they sell sweatshirts, just all things Austin City Limits theme. And what's cool this year is they were using an RFID kind of tag list system. So when you went to the checkout line, it moved super quick because you literally just dumped all of your stuff into this little box thing. It scanned the RFID tags, it knew exactly what was in there, what sizes they were, how much it was, and they were able to ring you up and check you out effortlessly in minutes. So really cool RFID system there as well. And then last but not least, kind of talking about like the rest of the booths that you can expect to find at Zilker. They've got a really cool opportunity for Narcan, right? So if you want to, or if you're someone that's partaking, having a good time at the festival, they want to make sure you're safe. They've got a booth there that was open all 3 days so that you can get kind of Narcan and the type of overdose prevention drug that is there at the booth. So pretty cool there. They also have a sober booth if you're attending the festival. They have kind of a sober festival goer booth where they can definitely help you keep strong, right? And definitely stay in good habits from there. They also have a new area. It's not new this year, but in the last couple of years, they kind of brought in this wine and frosé kind of area. It's where they have a smaller stage that they call bonus tracks. And so bonus tracks, for example, last year had Dave Grohl, the Foo Fighters, giving kind of like personal testimonial and things like that. So you get to see some of the bigger acts that can kind of go out there throughout the day. And then they also have their own performances and things on the bonus track stage. But that area is completely turfed out. It's under big shady trees, which is great because if the weather's hot like it was this year, it was over 90 degrees both weekends this year. The nice kind of wine little grove bonus track stage area was a great place for people to come and relax and kind of find a spot on the turf grass, lay down, cool off, and be under those shady trees. It definitely got a little more packed as a congested walkway throughout the day as the day got later though, so make sure that you get there early because it's only going to get busier from there. All right, y'all, so that's a preview as far as like the shops and the drinks and the food and everything like that goes. There's definitely more to see. I just wanted to kind of give people an overview of what to expect, but truly, unless you're getting there and want to see people playing really, really early, my recommendation for ACL to enjoy everything is to get there early before the bands that you want to see, which most of the known bands that people expect that they know start at 2 o'clock and later. So if you want to get there early, you can walk around, go to check out these shops, check out these booths and these vendors and things like that. So we talked about the stages, we talked about what there is to do there. The last thing that we're going to cover in this video is just kind of an access level thing and explaining lounges. And of course, we'll also talk about the beer tent and what changed there as well. Starting at the beer tent has been something that's been there for many, many years. It's located just over by the Miller Lite stage to the left of Austin Eats. And so it used to just be kind of a beer hall. This year, they actually brought in pizza. That was something new this year. So it's a shaded tent where it's got draft beer, all sorts of different craft beer and things like that. That's not at the typical bar selling your standard domestic stuff. The beer tent is all craft brews. And then they had a cool pizzeria selling entire whole pizzas. They fed 2 to 3 people. They were full-size pizzas. It looked like the line was moving pretty good. I went by a couple times and I didn't really see it being too busy, but pretty neat there that they added that. And so the beer tent itself doesn't have any chairs, but it has a bunch of tables so people can stand up and drink. But most importantly, this is where the sports is if you don't have a high premium level access of ticket. They have screens that are playing throughout the whole weekend. So if you're a college football fan, if you're an NFL fan, baseball for playoff seasons going on right now, the TVs are located here in the beer tent where you can actually watch your favorite team in between the acts that you came to see at ACL. And then let's talk about lounges and access. So that's a public lounge and that's available for everyone. But as I alluded to, there are TVs and different things in the more premium access. And so the way that this works is there's all sorts of different bands like I talked about at the beginning of the video. So there's like the C3 passes, there's the artist passes, there's GA Plus, there's VIP, there's Platinum, and then there's the All Access. And then in addition to that, the stage sponsors themselves have their own private lounges behind their respective stages. And so depending on what type of access ticket you have, for example, maybe you have like a GA ticket. If you're a T-Mobile customer, you can go over to the T-Mobile stage and they have the ability for you to kind of register and get access to their T-Mobile lounge located behind the stage, where you'll get things such as access to a private bar in there. There's some different seating and some lounge areas in there. And then they actually give you the ability to get sometimes side stage access to the T-Mobile stage, again, for T-Mobile customers, right? Miller has access for their family and friends to get bands to the Miller Lounge. C3 Guests has their own lounge. The artists have their own lounge. And then you've got the GA Plus Lounge, which features things such as, again, private food and private bars, air-conditioned restrooms, shaded seating, etc. in the the GA Plus Grove. And then there's the VIP access, which is the kind of middle of the run premium access, if you will, right? It's definitely not as crazy as Platinum, but it is a step up from GA Plus. And so the way that the VIP lounge works, which I'll do a whole standalone video showing everything in there, is a VIP lounge at ACL offers, of course, the shaded seating, the TVs for the sports. They've got the private bar in there. They've got private food, the air-conditioned restrooms, different shops and vendors and things like that. But the most premium perk that it offers is that there's raised viewing access for both the American Express and the Honda stages. So 2 different VIP groves on opposite ends of the festival grounds, providing that raised kind of viewing for the American Express to the Honda stage. So 2 different access there, American Express on one side, Honda on the other, and it is capacity controlled. So for this week, Dua Lipa, they had to close it down for her. She was on American Express. And Chapel Roan as well. They just got so crowded up there that those things could only hold so many people. But we'll do a standalone video showing what that looks like and what to expect up there. But that's one of the most premium things that VIP offers. And then last but not least, the Platinum bands again offer that Platinum lounge with the raised elevated views of the American Express stage. There's not a Platinum lounge over by Honda, so it is American Express only, but ultra premium, and they have like an air-conditioned building for the Platinum band holders. So anyways, that's just kind of an overview of what to expect at ACL 2023, 2024, probably 2025 as well. Last thing, just to kind of touch on it because I really need to mention it, there are a lot of lockers and phone charging solutions all around Zilker. So if you do buy merchandise or things throughout the day and you don't want to hold it, make sure that you reserve a locker online early. They tend to sell out, so it's important that you get one, whether it's a 1-day locker or 3-day lockers. You can book them online ahead of time to make sure that you get one. And then they also have some cell phone charging solutions as well if you need to charge your phone. So hopefully this video has been helpful to you. Again, I've gone most years for the last 15 years. So if you have any questions or you want to know anything about the festival, feel free to leave your comments below and I will answer as many questions as I can. So hopefully this video is helpful for you. Thanks for watching. And if you want to see more content, we do festival stuff, we do Disney stuff, we do international Europe stuff, we do all sorts of travel, we do reviews and things like that. Please like and subscribe and follow our channel. Again, my name is Chris from Marty Party Travel. We'll catch you next time.